All right, let's talk political parties. So the House of Commons is made up of a lot of members of Parliament. Almost all of those members of Parliament are part of a political party. So the Liberals have the most seats. There are the most MPs. More than 50% of the MPs in the House of Commons belong to the Liberal Party. The second most number of seats are controlled by the Conservatives, so they are the official opposition. Right? Liberals are the government. The Conservatives are the official opposition. And then I think the next most are the NDP, who's considered an opposition party, not the official opposition, but the NDP and the Bloc Québécois and the Green Party. They would all be considered opposition parties, though only the Conservatives are called the official opposition. Okay, so political parties have platforms. That's how we know what that. It's a bunch of like-minded people who come together, develop a platform that tells everybody what their belief system is, thereby allowing voters to vote en masse for a single party. The idea behind that is that if your party wins, they can motivate change. Because if you only vote for a single person, Joe Blow or Jane Doe is running in your riding and you vote for her and she wins, Jane Doe as a single person out of 308 MPs doesn't have a lot of power, right? Out of 308 MPs, Jane Doe has almost no power. But if Jane Doe is part of a political party that has 100 seats, well, now Jane Doe has power because she votes with these other 99 people and can actually affect change. So that's why political parties exist. That's why they have power. So, what is the question is, what is the role of political parties? Well, they allow us the voters to understand their position by being out of a single party. That way we can vote for a single idea, for a single message, rather than trying to figure out what each individual person might want in our individual riding. They also, by voting for a single political party, can actually get things done. Because with a majority government, they can actually pass laws without having to convince 150 individual people to vote with them. So political parties, by voting in a single block, have more power. Our next question is about the role of media in relation to political issues. The media plays several roles. The media is supposed to report to us, the voters, us, the Canadians, is supposed to report on what political parties are doing, what they believe in, their beliefs. It's supposed to do it impartially. So that's the role of media, is to tell us impartially what the different political parties believe in. Also, they're supposed to play, to some extent, ideally, they play a referee sort of role where the media will tell us when and if a political party or members of political parties or members of parliament or senators are doing anything illegal or what they shouldn't be doing, or they're not living up to the standards by which we, the people, should expect of them. So that's primarily the role of media. Now, keep in mind that the word media doesn't just mean news. The news is supposed to be impartial, but media can be magazines, can be newspapers. Like if you read the Calgary Sun, that's a newspaper, but it's not necessarily super impartial. It's far more right-wing than CBC, for example, or even the Calgary Herald. The Calgary Herald is even probably a little right-wing. Remember what right means? That means a little less government. Whereas if you were to read a newspaper like the Toronto Sun, that's a little more, or not Toronto Sun, sorry, the Toronto Herald would be a little more to the left. So even newspapers and magazines have certain ideological leanings. If you read a magazine that's made by and for women, it would have a ideological spin on different ideas. If you read a magazine on and for and by the gay community, they are going to have a different spin. If you read a magazine that is by and for Christians, it's going to have a different political spin. So all these things you have to keep in mind when you use the word media, because all of these things are considered media. Media is just, the word media just means a form of communication. Lobby groups. So lobby groups are, simply put, they're people who represent a special interest. So, for example, there is women's lobby groups, there are men's rights lobby groups, there are lobby groups that represent tobacco companies, there are lobby groups that represent oil companies and milk companies, there are lobby groups that represent youth rights, etc., etc. The objective all lobby groups are trying to do is get the government to make decisions in favor of their interests. So women's lobby groups are trying to ensure that the government makes laws in support of women's rights. For example, the women's lobby groups worked really hard to get the Liberals to put more women in the Liberal cabinet. And sure enough, what did the government do? They made sure the cabinet was half and half men and women. By doing that, they garnered favor with these lobby groups, and these lobby groups then spent money, on the Liberals, so the lobby group gave them some money, but our laws don't allow them to give them too much money, but they also told women across Canada how amazing the Liberals are, and told all the women across Canada that A, they should vote Liberal, and B, they should give money to the Liberal Party. So the lobby group now helps the government because the government helped them. That is the whole mission of lobby groups, is to get the government to make their decisions. As a summary of the entire chapter, I would say that political and legislative processes meet the needs of all Canadians by giving them opportunities to vote for their MP, join a lobby group, and voice their concerns through the media. Canadians of all ethnic, cultural, and religious groups have equal access to the political process and the opportunity to exercise those rights. Amen.